Welcome to the Motoring Podcast, your weekly discussion of motoring news. This is episode 680 on Tuesday, the 21st of April, 2026. Hello, I'm Alan.
Hello, I'm Andrew. And this week you'll hear us try to get in touch with one OEM's management to offer them this fab bridge we have for sale. In new car news, you will get to decide if different means good or not. And in points of interest, you'll get help with some FOMO. But first, we have a smidgen of follow-up. Now, the last time we covered this story was back on the 10th of March. And it is that more people are waking up to the dangers of the EU's proposed Industrial Accelerator Act, which has a made in Europe central vibe and core to it, particularly when it comes to things like automotive. And they realise this is a problem for the UK because back in 2016, we made the catastrophic decision to leave the EU. The consequences of doing so that were told before the vote and during the voting have turned out to be true.
Who'd have thought it?
Obviously, what this would mean is that any cars or parts made in the UK and sent to the EU would not be able to take advantage of the subsidies that would be handed out to everything made on the continent. People were thinking, oh, it'll hit China. Yeah, but it's going to hit us as well.
Yeah, because we're a third country.
Yes. The SMMT has spotted this and is becoming more and more vocal. Like we said last time when we did it on that episode, we hope that there are adults that can get around the table with EU representatives to say, look, we've got a good deal with automotive as it stands. Can we not do something similar with this? Particularly as we're going to have battery. I mean, the one thing that I thought of on the hop was battery factories. The fact that we've got one, we're building another massive one. I was only talking about that last week, where Tata's got some stunning amount of funding yet again. We're going to be online with battery factories with capacity before Europe does, because there's been a bunch of high-profile ones cancelled. Maybe that's an in. Whether the European car makers who are based here actually then start to put pressure on their representatives from inside as well to go, hang on, you're really going to hurt us as a company. That may be another way in, because you look at BMW, Stellantis, for example.
Yeah.
But Nissan have made it clear that they said they would shut Sunderland if those rules came in and there was no special dispensation for the UK.
Yeah.
With the situation we're in, with what has been decided, then of course there are consequences, and this is a very obvious consequence.
Yep.
On that note then, do you want to take us on to something that is very positive then for the UK car industry?
It is. It's that time of the year again when AUTOCAR hold their Great Woman Awards. Awards sounds
event.
Weird. Ceremony. Event. Event sounds best.
Celebratory event.
Yeah, that sounds condescending though.
Well, yeah, it does from a bloke, yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, it does.
Sorry.
Sorry. Every year, AUTOCAR takes the opportunity to highlight some of the women who work in UK automotive and to celebrate and show off what they've achieved and what they do. This has moved, I think, over the time we've been doing this podcast, has moved rather more from, look, there are women in the industry, to, look at this, isn't it great?
I think so.
There's been a sort of subtle change of tone, and that's because the people whose careers are being highlighted, who are being recognised here, are really very much at the top of the business, right the way through. So there's two links in the show notes. One is to obviously the AUTOCAR page of what it is all about, and the other one is all the various categories, the nominees and winners in those categories, and there's profiles of absolutely everyone in there, which is great. Overall winner this year was the winner of the executive category as well, and that's Lisa Brankin, the managing director and UK chair of Ford of Britain and Ireland. Congratulations to her, but also to everyone else for being involved, celebrated, doing your jobs, being awesome, all these other good things.
Yep,
that
absolutely.
we find certainly from our angles.
100%.
Yep, and well done to AUTOCAR for holding that event, by the way.
Yeah. I am now going to move us on, and this is news about Arnold Clark back in 2020.
Ooh, yes.
Yes, there's a reason I've taken this article. didn't want to get Alan's blood pressure up too high, although he'd be laughing at this one.
Mine is, what the heck do you expect from Arnold Clark?
Back in 2022, they had a cyber attack where customer data then appeared online. They have been taken to court in Scotland because there was an attempt to claim against them in terms of compensation by customers.
Yeah, class action.
Yeah, class action thing. However, Arnold Clark sat there and said, well, no, it shouldn't be done because there's already a case going on in England about this. And Scotland's highest civil court has rather slapped that down, I think is the polite way to put this, because Lord Sanderson, who was ruling on this case, said that, and I'm quoting from a Yahoo News article, which seems to be a reproduction of a Birmingham Live article.
It also quotes the Sunday Post.
It's convoluted here, wheels within wheels. But he said there was no meaningful link between the dispute and England, adding it had no connection whatsoever with England. Also, he had said previously that the people bringing the case had bought their cars in Scotland, so it should be ruled under Scottish law, which is, of course, different from English law.
Yes, I was going to say, for those of you who aren't aware, Scottish law and English law is different. That's why things happen in England and Wales, but not in Scotland. In fact, the entire basis of the law system is different. In England and Wales, it's based on common law, like America, where it's based on previous cases. Slightly different in Scotland, where it's based on Roman law. There you go.
They've been given permission, and now good luck to everyone who has signed up to that. And I hope they get a decent payout, because I'm sick to the back teeth of companies not taking cybersecurity seriously.
Ditto. Next, Stellantis. First of a couple of Stellantis stories this week. Stellantis has an overcapacity problem. That probably doesn't come as too much of a surprise whenever you consider that Peugeot Citroën had an overcapacity problem, and Fiat had an overcapacity problem, and Vauxhall and Opel had an overcapacity problem. When you combine all three of them, you end up with a company with an overcapacity problem. What they're going to do to address some of that is they're going to phase out vehicle production at the POISSY plant just outside Paris on the Ile-de-France in France. And they're going to do that over the next 3 to 4 years. They will continue manufacturing components and other bits and pieces. The site currently builds the DS3 and the Opel and Vauxhall Mokka, including their electric variants. So it is it's a relatively significant factory, really. Chances are that they'll probably do something similar to what Renault have done at Flins with their Revolution, I think it is, plan. I can't remember which
Yes.
it is.
Insert butchered words.
It's not a portmanteau here, is it? It's whether you take two words and stick them together. Production of the next generation DS3 E10s. I'm surprised there will be a next generation DS3 E10s, but there we go. Is due to start in 2027, and it will move to Zaragoza in Spain. Similarly, the next small Opel will probably move there as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they're not allowing Leapmotor to use it.
No, well,
unless they are also using the Zaragoza plant.
Tricky one. They're more likely to be doing that, because can you imagine a French company taking trying to bring in a Chinese manufacturer just outside Paris? Not so bad if you do it somewhere in a sort of corner of France, but to do it somewhere in Ile-de-France where it's very high profile, very easy to cause lots of disruption from it, very easy to get to the headquarters of Stellantis. Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that. Just from a PR point of view, that would cause all sorts of fun.
Okay.
Of course, with many car companies, I wouldn't rule it out, given it's because they just seem to walk headlong into these things.
Right, talking on about companies that are desperate, I'm going to move us on to Volkswagen. And in America, they have now officially halted production of the ID.4. They had paused it last year when the latest US government decided to do a 180-degree turn on the previous administration's positive moves for EVs in terms of grants, incentives, or whatever they were.
Yeah.
This created EV sales in America.
Basically, the American auto dealers got what they'd paid for by funding the Republican Party.
Yeah. This obviously created EV sales. and they have not returned for Volkswagen, certainly, to, as is quoted in this Electrive article, sustainable level. They've just decided to bite the bullet and go, right, we're just not making them in the US anymore. They are going to have to write down $500 million as a consequence. Bearing in mind, they initially put in $800 million to prep the plant in Chattanooga to be able to make this vehicle. That's quite a chunk they're having to then just swallow in one hit.
Yeah.
Even if it is on paper, it just means they don't have that money free to do something else now.
Yeah. It's the whole, the North American situation is just ridiculous.
Yep.
This is just special. It's making it impossible. Companies do that. And then, of course, you messed with oil supplies around the world, which, of course, would drive people, no pun intended, to drive people towards electric vehicles. Because one thing to remember is that in the US, whenever there are oil fluctuations, the fluctuations in price are not dampened as they are in Europe and other parts of the world by taxation to the same extent. Obviously, it's quite possible for not just to rise by silly amounts like they have here for no particular reason, but for them to rise by 50%, by 30%, 50%, whatever, as the oil companies wish and need to. That means that people, or computations they might do about efficiency, just go out the window. And that's why you see as oil prices go down, everybody gets rid of their economy cars and buys V8s again. And then as soon as the oil prices start going up, there is this mass panic of, oh my goodness, I must get rid of this pickup truck that I'm already upside down on the finance of and get something different that is smaller and more economical. And that's why you see quite so much flexing about that, quite so much howling from maybe some of the online publications across the pond about, oh goodness, now I need to immediately swap to an economy car. It's because the percentage rises and falls are much, much greater, so you can amortize over less time. However, the finance and everything in the US is just phenomenally expensive.
Yep.
And long term, and it's so easy to be the wrong way up on car loans. I dislike that intensely.
Well, I saw an article, I think it was the Autopian, that was saying that 7-year loans are now the norm.
Yeah, I think that was a couple were coming out with that. I don't know who was first, if it was the Autopian or the Drive or someone.
That's just shocking. That should be screaming alarm bells for everybody.
Well, no, the thing is that I tried to comes back to the dealers as well, because of course they get incentivized on that.
Yeah.
It's really tricky. I tried to say, well, look, I only want to pay this off over 2 years. Oh, we don't do 2-year loans. Just can't do it because I hate being upside down in finance.
Yeah.
I always want to essentially own more than 50% of the vehicle.
Well, they can't milk you.
Well, that's it. That's why they don't do them. We can't make the money on these, so we don't do them. It's the American way.
Yeah.
Which is a wonderful country, by the way, and full of really nice people. But some of the stuff you do is really stupid by European eyes.
Yes. Do you want to take us to Nissan and Sunderland?
Are you going to say, do I want to go to Sunderland? It's like, no, thanks. I've been loads of times. You can see the office I was in. Article on Electrive this week saying that Nissan is looking to sublease some of the Sunderland plant. It's running at about 50% right at the moment. You can possibly see why Nissan don't really want any more subsidies or anything to go elsewhere. But at the minute, they're also in talks with Chery to maybe have Chery build Chery vehicles on a line or two there, just to bulk up the capacity that's running through it, and to make those economies of scale work for them and also work for Chery. If you wonder about what, obviously Chery sells under its own brand in the UK, it also sells under Jaiku and Amodo. And you heard from Andrew last week about the registration figures in the UK and how well they're doing at the moment, certainly by those figures.
Yep.
It's definitely something that's being considered. Other companies are considering it in other parts of Europe and everywhere else. The only thing that might put them off is that it's not in the EU. That is the thing that might put Chery off, and that's what's going to... It's exactly the same as you were saying earlier on about for any other brand, but is it European enough for the subsidies? Because if it isn't, then there are other factories, as we've already talked about in this show, with space to spare in mainland Europe.
Yep, absolutely. I am now going to move us on back to Stellantis. And, oh dear.
I've tried to take the sting out of this one already, folks, all right? It's a tough one, but I've tried.
Stellantis last year ended their partnership with Amazon in terms of software.
Yay.
The Amazon software was going to run the iCockpit and all the rest of this sort of stuff. But they cancelled that last year. They have now announced a 5-year deal, though, with Microsoft. And one of the things that they're very proud to shout about is how they are going to use Microsoft's AI in over 100 initiatives to be introduced over the coming years.
I have a curious thing here. Beefing up its cyber defense system. Now, when I look through this, though, is it actually going to be in the vehicles? Because I'm not sure it is. When I read through this article on carscoops.com, at no point does it mention it's going to be in the vehicles.
Well, they've already talked about, if you go down to below the picture of the...
You're going to say they're embedding AI directly into our vehicles. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be Microsoft. I think this might be more about data centers, Azure.
No, but this underlines their... I mean, I do agree with what you're saying. Yes, they are going to be enhancing their data center. It is supposed to reduce the footprint of the data center. They are moving to Azure. It is allegedly going to help with the cybersecurity. That makes me laugh.
As much as Azure does for anything else, but, if they move to private cloud rather than public or something like that.
No, I'm talking about they're going to be using AI as well for their cyber defense.
Yeah, but
everybody's saying... No, well, let me just finish this and then we'll get on to that.
Shut up.
Because the way that they are saying this, which is their Chief Engineering Technology Officer, Ned Curick, has said, as AI rapidly advances, we have been early adopters across our business, from engineering and manufacturing to design and customer interaction, embedding AI directly into our vehicles, from the new digital cabin to the core vehicle operating system. This is what they have done, but this shows their mentality to it, which is bat poo.
But is that just something that someone in marketing wrote, though, Andrew?
Well, this is the problem. We can no longer trust anything because we don't know how much they're doing. We can't trust what we're being told because we are told all these fabulous things about AI, and this is not a car element. We are told all these things it can do, and it doesn't do them. But we don't know how we can check to see if it could do them.
Yeah.
Because it's a magic box. It's a magic box that does all magic things.
It's a magic box. Yes, it doesn't have the timing ability. Well, why does it pretend it does? That it can run a timer or something. But yeah, don't even get me started on this. I'm speaking at a thing, not a car thing, in a few weeks' time, and I have promised that I am not talking about AI. In fact, I declared at the beginning that whatever was in my talk, it was not going to involve AI, because I'm so sick of everybody talking about it, and most of it is
nonsense.
Nonsense works. I've just had enough, and now I'm at the stage where I see AI, and because of day job and stuff, I just look at it and go, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. You're just marketing stuff. It has become a marketing term rather than anything meaningful, unless you want, Shrek with 3 boobies or something.
Yeah.
That's three largish birds, by the way, just so that doesn't have to get cut, yeah.
But once again, we are reminded that the fact that the car industry doesn't understand software as an entity, and we should not be allowing consumer technology companies, which is what Microsoft is, we should not be allowing them anywhere near anything to do with the car, because they clearly have no clue about safety critical software. It just depresses me.
Marketing.
If you are looking to buy a new car, remember these things when you need to look into this stuff for each car brand, who they are working with, what they are allowing them to do, because this is really now vitally important for people's safety.
In an ideal world, they're not working with any of them, by the way.
Exactly, yeah.
That's the best answer, is none of them.
Yeah, 100%. They should not be anywhere near them.
You're allowed CarPlay and Android Auto, but that's it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I didn't quite manage to keep him totally cool through that, but I think I did all right.
So it wasn't too bad. I didn't swear.
You didn't? Well, that's better than the pre-show anyway.
Yes.
That brings us to Guilt Minute, or not Guilt Minute. Time to remind you about Thursday Minute. Thursday, the 23rd of April at 8 o'clock, British summertime, we will be answering your questions live. We have some that people have already submitted, which is great. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yes, you can. Who is your favorite friend of the show will not be being answered, by the way. Yeah, so thank you, people who have submitted them. There's some really good questions, both serious and otherwise, which is great. Obviously, it'll be a live stream on YouTube, so you will be able to ask questions as we go along. Please do. That would make it so much easier for us. And yeah, as I say, 8 o'clock, Thursday night. It will be coming to YouTube very soon. So if you subscribe, you will see it in your subscriptions and stuff. I will set that up later on. I think that's it. If you want to submit them in advance, don't forget to do it either, well, just whatever way you can get in touch with us, really. Someone remembered they could message us on Patreon. Thank you. You can do that. Absolutely. Thanks for those. Obviously, via the contact page on the website. If you put QA or Q&A or whatever at the start of it, it just means when I scan down the list, I know which ones are the spam and which ones aren't. And yeah, social media, whatever, or wait until Thursday and surprise us. But you might want us to think about it. If it's a big, proper, heavy, serious one, you might want us to have a bit of a think about it in advance. We promise we won't confer.
No, we'll check the questions, but we're not going to discuss them beforehand.
Yeah, we don't normally do that anyway.
No.
Yes, 8 o'clock Thursday. Free to everyone, by the way. That's not just for if you're on a Patreon level or anything. No. It will be available publicly.
Yes.
Obviously, if you can't be there, then be square or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there will be a podcast, audio-only version that will come out fairly quickly after as well.
I imagine the video will be sitting there.
Yep, video will be there, definitely. But if you only consume via a podcast app, then something will hit your feed not too long after that.
No. Should be all right. Brilliant. That was scruffy but effective, I think.
Yes.
Big new car announcement really last week was, of course, the new Nissan Juke. Available in low polygon count, so that it runs quicker on your Acorn A3000.
Well, it's because no one can afford RAM anymore, so...
That's exactly it, isn't it?
Maybe the design team couldn't. That's what's happened.
Third generation Juke. The Juke has always been the let's be a bit experimental and out there vehicle in the Nissan range. They have very much gone for... a little while ago, I can't remember which show it was, we talked about the Nissan concepts that they unveiled and released into Minecraft. There was a certain amount of, this is just flight of fantasy, there's no way they would ever do that. They've basically done it. It looks like a cross between a Juke, particularly the previous generation, and that Peugeot 206 from that Peugeot advert when the Indian guy is hammering the Hindustan ambassador into the shape of a 206 with a ball-peen hammer, and is left with lots of tiny little dents everywhere. That's kind of what it looks like. It's very much of the big creases and folding.
Yes, somebody's got a new creasing machine.
They have. The pictures that are shown are, I don't think they're very flattering. They're either a bit dark and gloomy on the green ones and kind of over touched up and rendered, or the ones of the purple one against the red background standing on a stage at a motor show in a convention center. The lighting sucks.
It's awful.
Absolutely awful. It's impossible to tell what that's going to look like out in the real world, parked on someone's drive, parked at the side of the street, driving along the motorway. I'm really curious to see it in real life. I actually think it will be better.
It's going to be difficult to be worse.
I think it's very much an acquired, I think it's very much an acquired taste as it is.
That's a polite way of putting it. Well done.
I think it's cool, but I don't know if I like it. All right? That's where I sit on it at the minute. And that opinion is likely impossible to change over the next few weeks, couple of months until I see.
We fully reserve the right on this show to change our opinions as we have done in the past when we've got things wrong and when we have got things right as well.
Alphas, Giulia and Stelvio could fit into that particular category. They're the ones that I think we were most vocally wrong on in the early days, and we both love both of them.
Yep. I've never liked the Juke. I've driven one briefly. I hated driving it.
Oh, you had one as a rental, didn't you?
Again, this car is not aimed at me. I will never buy one, and that's fine. One thing I did hear a few people on social media make the point, and they were quite right to make the point, actually, is that at least Nissan were tried to do something different. There is no way we can accuse them of going, they used AI to just make a small SUV.
Yeah.
And for that, I will applaud them for doing that. However, just because it's radically different does not necessarily mean it's good.
It depends what you define good as. It will immediately make it probably a slower sell than it would have been otherwise. But then maybe there's other people who consider it who wouldn't have considered it if it just looked like a BYD.
Yeah. Well, this article goes at pains to say about how the Leaf is effectively the same vehicle in terms of platform and size, but Nissan is going, no, totally different buyer. Because we asked this back in the day, didn't we? Not so long ago, we were asking, why is the Leaf now an SUV? Because that's surely going to steal from the Juke. They're stealing sales from themselves. And Nissan are going, no, not at all. We've got totally different buyers. The person who buys a Juke has no interest in the Leaf, blah, 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 blah. Time will tell.
I think that makes a lot more sense now than it did. Okay, and now for something completely not different.
Yes. Volkswagen has updated the ID.3. They've given it a name as well. It's called the ID.3 Neo, just to apparently show that this is more than just a bit of a refresh on the refresh on the refresh. This is more fundamentally updated. I mean, this has got to be one of their oldest vehicles now.
It probably is now, yeah.
I know it's 6 years old now. However, things that have changed are mainly on the inside. There's been a tiny bit of tweaking to the exterior, but mainly it's on the inside. In terms of the materials and touch points, they have been improved apparently dramatically in terms of quality and feel. On top of that, though, there are buttons now. There are not only buttons on the dashboard, but there are buttons on the wheels. So the haptic touch thing that you could set off accidentally as you were turning the wheel have been removed.
There are also buttons for the rear windows as well in the front, as opposed to having two switches and a third switch to switch between the front and rear, because people really hated that obvious piece of cost cutting.
Yeah. The UK media, well, actually, global media, because I've seen some American reports on this as well, seems to have gone very much in a, let's congratulate Volkswagen for listening to us in terms of buttons. And I think everyone's forgotten that Euro NCAP have said, if you do not have buttons, we are going to be marking you down quite a lot.
You see, I think you're being a little unfair there, and I'm going to say that I think it's a combination. I think the reporting was so loud on this and so unanimous on it, I think it did make a difference to Volkswagen. I also think it made a difference to Euro NCAP, and I think what's happened is a sort of two-pronged result here, because it was the ID.3 that really got people riled up over a lack of buttons and just things being a bit silly and going a bit far. What I also feel about the ID.3 and the Neo here is that I get the feeling that this is what Volkswagen, if they hadn't been in such a massive rush, probably wanted to launch initially with the ID.3.
Now, this one, the Neo, I want to try. I have had no desire to try any ID.3 up to now.
Remember that I had a previous ID.3,
I know you had.
And the things that I didn't like about the ID.3 are the things that have been fixed. But fundamentally, I quite liked it.
Yeah, I'd like to try this because I'm sure that not only will, obviously, the materials and all that sort of stuff improve, there will be the just inherent improvement in the technology in terms of the battery and the powertrain, which will make it much better. This now, I mean, in terms of a refresh, has done its job on me, where I want to experience this car and go, actually, is this worthy of being one, a Volkswagen, and two, people buying it rather than it was one of the few choices they had previously.
Yeah.
And they thought Volkswagen would get it right. What I think we should congratulate Volkswagen for is the fact that they have continued to try and improve it to a Volkswagen standard. And for that, again, like I was saying with Nissan before, I will give praise where it is due, and that is due praise.
Yeah, because they could easily have just sort of shoved it aside, gone, let's forget about the problem child here.
Yeah, we'll just have an e-Golf.
Yeah.
Or an ID Polo or whatever. I mean, even though those vehicles are coming out.
Mm-hmm. No, I like the look of this. I like the changes to the outside. I like the changes to the inside. Sounds incredibly promising, especially upgraded materials, because previously it was sub-caddy in some places, some of the touch points. But again, as I say, I think I put all of that down to the rush of the first ID.3. Yep. Really interested in this. It has a lot of promise as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We've done 2 cars we know well.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like it to take us to a new vehicle we do not know at all?
Yes, it's a Denza.
Okay. A what?
A Denza. It looks like it's going to cost around £100,000 in the UK.
And we know those electric cars sell very well in the UK.
Oh, yes, they sell wonderfully well in the UK. And it is a bit of the old, it's about £100,000, and it's essentially a Porsche Taycan Sport Turismo. That's the right one, isn't it? The estate Taycan is what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
Now, I think Denza is a spin-off of BYD. That's what I thought, but then I can't see that anywhere in this article, and I haven't had a chance.
Is it not Geely?
Chance to look. Is it Geely? Okay. Well, whichever. But I don't know. I'm not in the market for it. The things that it has to show off is that it's a 309 brake horsepower motor on the front axle, 416 brake horsepower motor on the rear. That gives a total combined magic electric trickery of up to 1,140 horsepower. The rear wheels steer as well, so it can crab walk. It can parallel park for you. It's got an incredibly tight turning circle as a result, and all sorts of things like that. Rear wheel steering, extreme rear wheel steering, is very funny sensation if you're driving a car with all-wheel steering like that. My Infiniti, it was a little bit, you could feel it tighten, and it was a little bit unnerving until you realised what was happening. It's got a range of about 372 miles. Denza is building a new charging network to go along with it, which means that it can accept power at 1,500 kilowatts where possible.
Yeah, just to clarify, though, it is BYD, so therefore it's going to be they're going to take, because now I've looked it up because I was talking about this last week, they're going to take advantage of the flash charging network that BYD are looking to install across the UK.
Exactly. Do you know what? There's the rapid charging that was my clue in the back of my mind going, this is BYD. They talked about this whenever I was at the recent launch. So it can accept power at 1,500, up to 1,500 kilowatts. That means 10 to 97% in just 9 minutes. Obviously, that's only ever useful if you're on road trips. Most of the time, you'll be charging. Most people, most of the time, who are going to be buying a £100,000 EV, can probably charge at home. It's got built-in LiDAR, all the stuff that one may need for autonomous driving in the future, if it is possible, and signed off as safe or by legislation on roads in your country. It should arrive in the UK around July as well.
It's 2.9 ton.
Yeah, it's going to be, yeah.
Because of that 122 kilowatt hour battery pack.
Yeah, but the Taycan stuff's heavy too, but it's incredibly
it's just
heavy.
Ridiculous.
That, by the way, means that you can carry very little luggage by the time you've got 4 adult passengers inside it. Otherwise, now tell me, there's an interesting one. If it goes over 3.5 tons, but it's not a commercial vehicle, and it's electric, does that mean that it's allowed to be...
Oh, electric's fine. You can go over weights. It doesn't matter. Physics doesn't apply.
No, stop it. Stop it. That's not... What he's saying is not true.
One might think that looking at how legislation is done.
Yes, but that's for commercial vehicles. So I do wonder about that.
And for parking.
And all these other things. Basically, this AUTOCAR article that I'm scrolling through as I read this is saying that it's a £50,000 car in other parts of the world, and it doesn't feel like any more than a £50,000 car. Despite the fact it's rather clever. I don't know. I have trouble with this with this. It is a bit. It's a bit Timu Taycan. There you go. That's me getting lynched by their PR system.
It's way too fast, far too much power, but it needs the power because it's, not far off 3 ton. Then you've got the enormous battery pack, which if you're not on an ultra rapid charger is going to take ages to charge. There's the cost, which is eye-watering, and it's a brand new brand, even though it's part of BYD's umbrella, that you're going to be asking people to pony up for. I think it's a big ask for this to be anything more than niche in the UK.
I think it's very much there to go, look at what we can do.
Yeah.
As an example of that. And that's fine. But I wouldn't be expecting to see too many of them.
All companies need a Halo brand stroke model. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Supposedly the in-car entertainment even includes a file manager. Like Windows 3.11. As well as typos and standard fonts and all sorts of other fun stuff there. Let's take us to Designer's Mood Board, please.
Yeah, I'm going to move on to Designer's Mood Board so I don't get cross again. And this is the news that McLaren has found a new design boss. Kemal Kurik has left Ford after being there since 2004. And he was heavily instrumental in the styling of the S550 generation Mustang. He is now moved to Woking. McLaren is redesigning their range from the ground up. They are trying to reinvent themselves completely after they melded with 47, that famous car company, 47. But they're a lot of technology side of things.
Yes.
And I am genuinely interested to see what they come up with because we've seen like teaser images of stuff, but I don't think it's anything that McLaren has produced. I think this is the AUTOCAR Auto Express. We think it might look like this moment.
Yes, I'm hoping that there's a move on from the sort of genericness across the McLaren range.
Well, the photocopier goes up a bit and down a bit.
Yes, stretch, shrink, etc. Yeah.
Interesting
though, previously he headed up design for Lincoln, the Ford luxury brand.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't talked about any other designers recently who have previously been in charge of Lincoln.
No, not at all.
No,
not at all. No. But there is a link in the show notes from AUTOCAR if you wish to read more on that one.
Lunchtime watch this week. There's a list of about 5. It was Rustival last weekend. You didn't see me there. I looked suspiciously like Rich Gooding and driving a Polo. I wasn't able to make it, unfortunately. Neither were you.
No, I couldn't take advantage of your ticket, which was a real shame.
But Rustival, I was at the last one 6 months ago. Fantastic event. Great atmosphere. Cool cars. Really nice people. And everything I've read about the one on Saturday was the same, if not more so, which was great. Some walk around so you can get a good view of everything that was there. And also I see that Ian, I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I see Ian has Rustival from the inside and all that organising it and all about these kind of things. Great. Well done to Ian, Carly, Matt and Steph and everyone else involved.
Yep.
In putting it together because it's just ace.
Yeah, thank you for doing so. I don't know if people have said that enough to them, but thank you very much for doing it because the joy that I could see on Blue Sky that people had this to go to and attend and the fact that it was great on top of it, it cannot, at this moment in time, as he waves his hands around generally at the universe, cannot be underestimated.
No, it's cracking. And as I say, well done to everyone who's involved in that. Sorry I couldn't be there. Loads of people I wanted to catch up with, but I couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
It's a rule of the universe, by the way, that Sean Hudson and I can never be in the same place at the same time. It only happened once so far, years ago.
Okay, well, on that shocking news, I'm going to move us on to the list of the week. And this is thanks to Top Gear. And this time it's by Greg Potts and not Tom Wookie Ford. And it is titled, Here are 9 favourite off-roading estate cars. Now, there is only 9. I am introducing this article. Therefore, the choice this week is completely down to my colleague, Mr. Bradley.
It just makes it harder because they're all really good.
Are they all really good?
They are all really good.
Okay.
No, I haven't seen one I don't like. There's plenty I don't want to own.
Even the first one?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The others, though, yeah, I'm absolutely 100%
Yeah,
with you.
Even the first one is cool. Even the first one, actually, yeah.
I am genuinely asking the question.
It's a fabulous bitzer.
It's my lack of knowledge on that market, you see.
No, it's a fabulous bitzer, and yeah, it is cool. It is actually cool.
Well, now we've just walked around without naming it, so come on, tell us which one you are picking.
I'm going to choose the Toyota Tercel 4-wheel drive estate. Did you know I was going to choose that? You can't possibly.
That's the one I picked.
You can't have known I was going to choose that because I literally just chose it because I hadn't made a decision.
That was the one I was picking.
I love the asymmetric rear doors on this and rear number plate positioning. I just always thought they were really cool. They kind of stood out as a bit of an oddity in the UK. They were sold. They were quite popular, certainly in parts of Scotland. I don't know about anywhere else.
North Wales.
Probably Wales as well. For the same reason. See also some of the others in this list. The one below it, for example. And I think it's one of those mostly forgotten about ones. There's a cool one goes to Festival of the Unexceptional. I've seen that with the families restored it and stuff and brought it back from somewhere weird.
I've always felt there's a hint of the Rancho in these.
It's a little bit, yeah. It's a similar kind of market.
Yeah, it's just by its slightly unusualness in its design.
It's also the inverse of a Rancho if you think about it, because it is actually 4-wheel drive but car-like, as opposed to a Rancho being 2-wheel drive and SUV-like.
And will work and last.
And it will work and it'll last. And until the tin worm is what killed all these off.
Yeah.
But I've always liked those. I've always thought they were kind of cool. I would have anything on this list, to be honest.
It is a very good list. Do check out the Top Gear link in our show notes.
Second one I was so tempted by. But it's too predictable.
Well, yes.
Too predictable. I've expressed my desire for those before.
I thought you might pick that. I didn't think you picked the one you did because you didn't want to be accused of being too much of a Toyota fanboy.
No, I think, and then of course when I passed my test, my parents had one of the other, well, not quite one of the others, but similar. And, it's very difficult to choose.
Yeah. Do check out the link in the show notes. Excellent list. Even it's short, but it's excellent. That means, Alan, that you get to take us to the and finally.
It does, doesn't it? So the and finally this week, one of my guilty pleasures on YouTube isn't watching
steady now, steady
stuff. Yeah. I said YouTube. Sorry. Is some of these ASMR style videos where people restore stuff. And one of my favorite things to watch for that is a chap called Mr. Patina. He doesn't over restore stuff, and he does everything from sort of did a lathe for his workshop. He did all sorts of bits and pieces. It'll be a bread slicer or something like that. But it's just a good thing to have on in the background if you're second screening of an evening. Or over breakfast is a favourite of mine, actually.
Gently bring you into the day.
Yeah, it is. But he seems to have acquired from a scrapyard, probably somewhere in Germany, a Renault 4. And it looks like he's getting started on the Renault 4. So there's lots of you never see him, he never says anything. Well, it's not you never see him, you do it on occasion, a couple of times. But you see him sort of take stuff to bits and sandblast it and powder coat stuff or plate it and all this kind of stuff. But he's doing to an entire Renault 4 bit by bit. This is part one. I like Renault 4s. I like his videos. What could possibly be missing from this? Do enjoy it.
I love the external sun visor on this car.
I know.
That's
there's some stuff he takes off and he does say it's not going back on again, but I can't remember if that was one of them. But yeah, you do occasionally see that in France with that external sun visor. I like Renault 4s.
Yeah.
Very good. So that's our end finally for this week. It's a bit of an extra lunchtime watch.
Mm-hmm. If you somehow get through all the Rustables.
If you get through all the Rustables, yeah. So it was either that or maybe what we've got next week, which involves New York firemen. Something completely different.
Oh, and by the way, on the Rustables, I meant to say this during the lunchtime watch segment. do feel free to put Rustival 2026 in, because there are tons of channels out there. We've just picked 4 that we've selected. Obviously, the 3 of those involved in it, and also John Coupland's channel as well, because he got his up astonishingly. I just don't believe he sleeps when he's got a video to come out, because there just cannot be time for him to travel all that way and then edit and then get a chunky video out. It's not like it's 5-minute either. Do put it in and spread the love to some smaller channels as well, because they're all coming at it from a unique perspective, and the car media side or content creation side of things, we need to share the love amongst everyone.
And everybody has a different take on stuff.
Yeah. It's great to see, and let's encourage everyone to keep doing good stuff.
There'll be stuff from Indecisive Auto and stuff, and other people as well. I do keep an eye out for those, because their takes are always really good too.
Yep. Sorry, I just hijacked the end there.
That's all right. Parish notes, Thursday, 8 p.m. Be here, interrogate us. It's your chance to actually push us and steer the content that you want from us. Push us in a good way, I hope.
Yeah, careful. Don't offer too much.
No, I know.
Overpromise, underdeliver. Motoring podcast since 2015.
Oh, I know. Look, we put time aside from it. We can only do it in the time that's allotted. We can't mess it up. That's that. Other than that, don't forget between now and next week, you can give us any feedback, share your thoughts on the show at motoringpodcast.com on Blue Sky, at Motoring Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, and on the contact page of motoringpodcast.com, the hub of all our activities. Contact page is also a great way to get in some early question submissions as well. Remember, you can support us financially via Patreon, and please leave a review and rating on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or however your podcast app lets you do such a thing. Andrew, what is the best way to get in touch with you?
Best way to get in touch with me is I am ish back on Blue Sky, so you can search for Crack Windscreen there. If not, then look on LinkedIn under my full name and you'll find me there. And Alan, if people would like to get in touch with you personally, what is the best way for them to do that?
Blue Sky is a very good way, where I'm at AJP Bradley. That's BRADLEY.bsky.social. I am also on LinkedIn as well. We'll be back very soon. But until then, I've been Alan Bradley.
I've been Andrew Clues.
And safe motoring.